picture's worth 1,000 words.
Correct.
But my art is all about a word being worth 1,000.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Mindplex Community Dream Wonders podcast. Today's guest is the famous NFT artist and the first NFT artist in the UAE, Phygital artist, Amrita. I'm just so thrilled to be with you, Amrita. I mean, I'm such a fan of your work, and I'm sure our listeners will also become fans of your work through this podcast, but I invite them to Dubai to actually experience the work. And we are so lucky, and thank you so much. We are very grateful to have been invited in your laboratory, I would say, yes, in your artistic studio to have this conversation. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. And it's such a pleasure and my honor to have you in my studio. I love it. I'm going to be calling it as well my laboratory. And just to have your presence. And thank you for these beautiful earrings. I got very spoiled today, so thank you.
I'm happy that you like them. I thought they would fit with our artistic conversation. So, Amrita, you are a pioneer, a thought leader, and an awarded artist, as well as, of course, award-winning UAE Golden Visa holder. So it's so many, I can see many awards in your studio, and of course, your reputation and fame precedes you, if I may say it. But please tell us, it's first time when I encounter this term, a Phygital artist. I mean, you are a pioneer in that as well. Please illuminate me and our audience. What is a Phygital artist?
So yeah, absolutely. I would say it's now a new word. So it's merging the physical with the digital. And then you put it together and it makes it Phygital. It fuses together. And I think really for me, this is the future, right? And it's not just the future, it's here currently. So a lot of the time we have a lot of physical, whether it's artwork, whether it's even a product like a bottle of water or, a mural, a sculpture, even a piece of paper, right? So you get something that's physical. And then how do we infuse that digital experience on top of it? And that could be an experience like augmented reality, virtual reality, AI, but it can also be are we going to fuse the new technologies like Web3, blockchain? So taking something that's very tangible, very physical, fusing it with the new digital technologies to make it Phygital.
That's fascinating. And, you shared with me a few of your arts, which we can see here, and our audience will have the opportunity to see them come alive. Yes. For me, it was like mind-blowing, unbelievable, right? Even your t-shirt comes to life. So,
but I think that's what I love. And like just that excitement that I can see in your face, in your eyes.
Fascination.
It's sometimes what I want to do is I want to bring magic back to art, right? And not just magic for children, because children, obviously, for everything is new. But what I love is when I see that, that childish magic or joyfulness come out of adults' eyes when they see something for the first time. And that's what I think technology is able to do. It's going to be, it is now for me, a digital tool brush. As an artist, I can work with lots of different mediums, from acrylic to oil painting. And now tech is just another, tool brush that I've got to be able to express myself in ways that I couldn't have ever done before, but also take the user on a journey that is so unique and that opens up a new dimension between the physical artwork and, say, for example, your phone. So we all have a smartphone, with us. And what I find is that there's now a whole new amount of, I would say, real estate between your phone and the artwork that allows a new story to be told. Like this is now, all of this space is new storytelling space. And it doesn't necessarily need to only just be for art. I mean, I imagine the future of brands being able to tell customers about their products, or being able to go to a restaurant and being able to, see where your food is sourced from.
Wow.
Or, and I think that in the future, it's about accessing different dimensions. So like now today, you see this in this dimension, but just with the flick of the phone, in the future, with the flick of, your glasses, all of a sudden, you're going to see just amazing creativity, like a whale coming out of here. And imagine you're walking in a mall or in a shop or in a gallery, and the art tells more than just the story that you see physically.
Yes, I just imagine that, because I also have seen it. Yes, and indeed it is a wow moment. I think this Phygital Art, if I can just encapsulate it like that, it is indeed magic. You mentioned that you are using artificial intelligence and blockchain. If you can maybe explain how artificial intelligence is used in your art, maybe in particular on this one, which made me cry when you showed me, and our audience will also see it, and you'll understand why it was so emotional.
But yeah, I mean, I think for me, as I said, I always like to use the latest technologies. I call it art edutainment, right? So I use art to educate people, but in a playful and in an entertaining way. Because I think, a lot of the new technologies that are coming out, like Web3, NFTs, just even the concept of non-fungible token or artificial intelligence, these are very complex concepts that people are still struggling to wrap their heads around. And people don't like change. So what I decided to do, especially with my latest, I would say, collection, which I called AI Bytes. So I take AI and I merge it with my signature style of SoundBYTEs, which is all based on sound and images and art and storytelling. So what I did is I wanted to showcase the different varieties of AI that have come into the market, but to show that, without human intelligence, you're not going to be able to, yes, there's going to be AI, but as in human intelligence, we can utilize AI and make it even better, right? And it's because of, there's a lot of stuff the AI can't do without us. So we still need to have that human mind frame to pull it all together. And I'll explain how I did this. Please. So first, what I did is I asked ChatGPT to write me a poem. And I wanted the poem to be about how we're moving from the world of Web2 to Web3, and I'm somebody who's very passionate about inspiring change through art and technology. And so I asked ChatGPT to write me a poem about this. It wrote me a poem. And then I took those words of the poem and I used those as word prompts into, text to prompt to text to image AI. And I used the same words and I generated one image. I used again the same words and I generated another image. And I did this and I created lots of images. And then I chose 5 images that all look completely different to each other, right? And the reason why I did this is I wanted to, I would say, compare it to the human mind, because human beings are the original OG AI machines, right? We are, what they say, we are what we think and we are what we have been inputted into our brains. And so, our experiences, what we watch on TV, on social media, what we have studied, everything, what our parents have taught us, but not just also our parents, what the generations before have come to us. That is all stored in our AI machines, which make us us and which make our personality. And so what happens when, for example, I say words, like imagine I'm here and I've got 5 people in front of me, or I've got an audience, you're here and the people at home are all watching. Now, everything that I'm saying will have a different impact depending on their AI programming. So what I say will be reflected, it's a reflection of you, not a reflection of me. And that you can say the same words to the same 5 people and different images will come up. And that's what I wanted to show with this, is that the same words produce different images and produce different realities given the environment.
Totally
right?
Fascinating. Yes, I mean, like really, I wouldn't have thought of this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's, wow.
But
it's in the eyes and ears of the beholder. Yes,
eyes and ears, exactly. And the experience of the iPhone. So then what I then did is that I recorded myself saying the poem and I captured the shape and structure of the sound wave.
Wow.
And then each of the lines of the sound wave, if you can see, I wrote the poem. And then if you scan the QR code in the artwork, then you can hear the poem being read out. And we'll show this later. You can see the poem being read out. And I got an AI to read the poem. So I didn't do it in my voice. I did it in the AI. And then, of course, I made it both as a physical artwork and, of course, as an NFT or digital collectible. And so it really is, in its sense, a pure phygital experience, merging the physical with the digital experience, with new technologies, as well as a new medium, because an NFT is a medium in which you store an artwork. Just like you have a physical artwork, is a medium in which you can store it and display it.
You are one of the most amazingly creative minds and souls. I mean, really, art and technology, and to put them together like that and to frame really human perception and exactly all this. Yes, it's in the eyes of the beholder, and that we can find ourselves in the various images. It is, I cannot even articulate it, maybe.
Thank you.
With time.
They say, my whole artwork is based, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Correct.
But my art is all about a word being worth 1,000 pictures.
Oh my God. That's phenomenal. So I think let's now have this break to have the audience witness your creation as an NFT, as a Phygital Art. So
in a world where circuits meld with rhyme, where silicon dreams and times redesign, art takes a leap beyond the canvas wide. With AI touch, a digital tide. Pixels and codes, now the brush and the pen. Crafting realms beyond mortal ken. From age-old strokes to algorithms deft. Art evolution takes its next breath. NFTs arise, a token unique. Immutable proof of an artist's mystique. Web3 paves the path, decentralized land. Where creativity thrives, unfettered and grand. Galleries now, not of marble and stone.
So it is fascinating how you use artificial intelligence, and our audience are mainly AI fans, but also, and of course experts, many of them, but also blockchain. Yes, and you mentioned that you use Web3 and blockchain as well. What would be the role of Web3 in this kind of Phygital art?
Well, for me, it's, blockchain is an amazing, foundation for me to be able to take my art, take it from the physical world into the digital world, give it its unique identity and code, and hence birth of the NFT, right? And so for those who don't know, it stands for non-fungible token, but it allows my artwork in its digital format to be just as unique and rare as the physical artwork that you are seeing in front of you. And I think that all of that just wouldn't be possible without blockchain. But what I kind of want people, because again, it's a journey and people don't like change. So a lot of people don't understand, like, why would I want a digital, artwork that's mined into the blockchain. And the main thing is it gives its rarity. So that is, you can have thousands of digital images floating around, but that one is what's given the stamp and the identity. And I think that, I think in the current state of the world today, NFTs might be too much for certain people to wrap their heads around. So what I always do is I say, you buy the physical artwork and you get the NFT as a one of one, and that becomes your digital collectible. But it then opens the key to the club of my community, and you become a member of my collector's circle, which I call the Byte Club, right? So SoundBYTEs, Byte Club.
Wow.
And then depending on which NFT you have, you get tiered accordingly. And of course, then, I reward my community and my collector circle. So it allows for a way to, not only create rarity and uniqueness, but then able to create a kind of collector's circle that before maybe would have been scattered, but then, the same people who love your art are able to come together and also form this community. And the final way I kind of use it is, or I understand, is that blockchain is very funny in the sense that, it's an anomaly. It's not funny, sorry. It's an anomaly because blockchain technology, AI, all of these new Web3 technologies have come about at a time where people want to know everything, right? So obviously you can have all of the information available to you. So people want to know exactly how blockchain works. But, we're in a world where I get into an aeroplane or get into a car. I don't know how it works.
Or
I
the
don't
laptop
know.
or
a laptop.
the phone.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not obsessed with the way it works. I just know that it solves a problem and or helps me get to a need or helps me get from A to B. And I think that what's happened a little bit, I would say, in the Web3 and the blockchain world is everyone's become very obsessed about, learning how it works. So to kind of aid this, but also to kind of strip it back to its basics, I have launched my own online learning academy, which I can call the Byte Academy. And my first course is called Blockchain Foundation course. And it's to give people an understanding about, the fundamentals of blockchain, everything from the different chains, an introduction to NFTs.
No, this is amazing. I'm just so impressed. You know so much about technology. I thought, you are an artist using technology, but you know the depths of technology and are educating people about technology. Just a little diversion behind you, I see in this piece of art, the Bitcoin sign. Can you explain a bit? Why do you have that there?
So the artwork behind me, and we can go through it a little bit more, is a very special piece for me. This artwork is titled Future NFT Dubai. Oh. And it's actually a mural that has been painted here at Dubai at the DIFC Innovation Hub. And it's one of the world's largest augmented reality NFT murals in the world. And it's the first augmented reality mural here in the Middle East. And so what I wanted to do with this story is obviously I have my art style is called SoundBYTEs, where I say a word, I capture a shape and structure of the sound wave, and then each of the lines of the sound wave I draw to match the meaning of the word. And this piece is very unique because I was very grateful and lucky to the DIFC that they allowed me to paint this artwork on the side of it. But what I wanted to do with this is tell a new story. As artists are storytellers of their time. And what I wanted to do is show that actually, as a storyteller, you create new characters, you create new narratives, which creates new images in people's minds, which then creates a reality, which then becomes just part of what they know and who they know. And it becomes part of the fragment of society and, people's knowledge. So with the new future technologies, I wanted to create new characters. So I created these new characters like, the Bitcoin Abaya. So also launching her name is Bitcoin Abaya. And, she loves everything that is gold and Bitcoin, because it's making that comparison to the average layman that Bitcoin, like gold,
yes,
is a store of value. And it's using the heritage of the UAE, but framing it in a very futuristic manner. And then you have, the crypto sheikh over here. His name's Crypto Sheikh, where it's like, it's a bit like a crypto punk, and it gives a bit of reference to, the history of some of the most popular NFTs, but again, making it a bit, tailored for the UAE. Then you have Meta Sheikh over here, about being able to vision the world through glasses. I think that, just like how everybody has normalized just walking around with the phone,
yes,
everybody will have different types of glasses that will allow us to experience hybrid reality in the future. And then you have MetaMask Man.
Exactly,
and
I could see that. Yes.
So
we recognize that.
Exactly. So some people, the people in Web2 just look at it as a fox in a suit.
Yes.
So it could be like a financial fox because he's like part of the financial world. But actually, it's MetaMask. And so this is, again, an art edutainment moment where I'm educating people on the new technologies through images. And, you've got the word DeFi next to the $sign there as well. And then here you've got Mr. Dubai Doge as well. And, he's tried to dodge a Doge in Dubai. And so he's the cheeky, sneaky little character. And so all of these characters tell a new story. These are literally on the wall in the city. And infusing it with the fragmentation and the fabric of, I would say, the city to create a new story and a narrative.
That's amazing. And, really, you made it come to life with this description, but also we will show to our audience the Phygital version, yes? When it comes to life, really, and it's amazing. And then they will see through the video the story which you just told us.
Exactly. So this is an augmented reality mural. So there's a QR code over here.
Yes.
And you will scan the QR code, just like when you go to the real mural, there's a QR code under my signature. You scan the QR code, you point your phone at the artwork, and the whole thing comes alive and accessing a new dimension.
And we will do this right now for our audience.
Yeah.
Come back afterwards.
So this is the picture of the mural. As I said, I come up to about here, so it's it's very large. And to activate the augmented reality, you just go to your camera in your phone, and you scan the QR code over here. This opens up into Instagram. Make sure your volume is up, and then the whole artwork comes alive.
So that's like really fascinating to see how we can immerse ourselves in the story, as you say, the layers of the dimensions, and wow. Okay, but let's come back, and now coming back to the MetaMask story and the DeFi dimension of this image here. Or of this piece of art, not only because it's many images and many layers of it. This reminds me that I wanted to ask you, and now maybe it makes more sense that you know so much about technology as well as art, although I am still puzzled by all this. But you had a successful banking career before, which is, I don't know when. You look so young and you've already accomplished so much in art. And so the question is, how does banking and this art merge? And how did you emerge as such an accomplished and amazing artist from the banking world? Tell us a bit about your banking career and this transition. Was it an aha moment? Was it a revelation? What have you done? Where have you been?
It's a very good story, and one I feel that is, I would say, like, been the fascination of many people, because, in life, like, it's quite a big thing to change from the financial world to the art world, right? And so
I don't see connection except for the NFT and DeFi.
So I mean, I was very lucky enough to have a very successful career in banking, and I was always more in private banking, but I worked across like insurances and worked for some of the world's largest, financial organizations across many different departments. And I had decided that I wanted to actually go from being, in the corporate world to being an entrepreneur. That was my first decision. But I thought I was going to go in becoming a finance entrepreneur. And so when I quit my job and I had that moment in time, so, you're in the corporate world, you're in that rat race, you're on that treadmill. A lot of the time we don't take the time just to sit quietly with ourselves. Yes. And so in that time where I had time to reflect and go inwards, that's when I kind of reignited and reconnected, I would say, to my artistic younger self. So when I was when I was studying, when I was, before I was 18, I actually wanted to become an architect. My father was an architect with the UN. My mother is a lawyer. And I always wanted to become an architect. And then so I was studying art. And then all of a sudden, I fell in love with economics.
Wow.
It's a very weird thing to fall in love with,
yes.
especially when I'm very artistic.
Art. Yes.
But I'm somebody, I would say, who's both very right and left brain. And then it just, economics took me into a whole, it took me on this journey. And then when I kind of connected to myself, I'm a big believer in personal growth. I'm a big believer in meditation or whatever works for you, but I'm a big believer in personal growth and really connecting to the authentic self. And so what I feel is that I went inwards, I came out, and I literally found my voice. I created the SoundBYTE art, which I originally called voice note art. Wow. Voice being able to help you see sound and express yourself through words and through images. And when I created this concept, I was like, I think I've done something that nobody has done before.
No, nobody.
and I was like to my husband, I was like, should I get it copyrighted? And he's like, nobody. At the time, I was like going to go and become my own entrepreneur in finance. He's like, nobody cares about your art project, so you can carry on. But there was something inside me that said, no, that this is going to change my life. So I decided to get it copyrighted, more because I wanted to make sure that I hadn't copied somebody else's idea, because I knew it came from within, if that makes sense. So I copyrighted it. I showed it to 1 or 2 people, and then boom, I feel it resonates with so many people, like being able to see sound. Like, what does that word mean to you? Like, even your name, like what story, what words, what images comes to people's minds. And this was also all before AI. It's like almost like this is my version of AI. Like, if you say, Mihaela, what are the words, to your family and your friends and your colleagues and the people who know you, what are the images that come up about you, yes. Right? And so in a way, it's like an AI prompt machine, right? And so that's the funny thing is that I created this concept where a word is worth 1,000 pictures before AI, where a word is worth 1,000 pictures.
This is more than fascinating, and I'll tell you why. Also because sound is the primordial energy, so that's why music is the unifying
language.
Yes, exactly. And now you shifting this on its head, yes. So sound is one sound is 1,000 images. It's just, you are absolutely correct. And in going into that essence of humanity, maybe of the universe and consciousness itself. And we, of course, are very concerned with it, although you said before AI, and indeed before AI, there was consciousness. And we are aiming to model consciousness with AI. And
completely, AI is a pure model of human beings. It was created by human beings.
Yes.
And modeling, I mean, even you think about even your iPhone or your phones, it's like a human being. Like, you know, like your hardware changes. So you go from an iPhone 1 to an iPhone 50 to 6, 7, 8, 15. So the hardware changes, but the download, the cloud still stays the same. So you just change the hardware and you're just constantly downloading. And then you need Wi-Fi to connect to the higher source.
Oh, wow.
To the manifestation.
We call that sentience. Now we're starting to bring the higher source into our devices and call it sentience.
Because I'm sorry, some people walk around like iPhone's not connected to the Wi-Fi.
Yes, exactly.
So
I agree.
I'm
zombies. We call
zombies.
them zombies.
Yeah, I'm somebody who I'd like to think of somebody who's connected to my Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And so by being able to connect to my Wi-Fi, I was able to go inward. And I think that's what I try to do with my art. I try to inspire change through art and technology, but personal growth and personal change, right? Because, you know, a lot of the time people, and this is just going back to the concept of being a banker to an artist.
Yes.
You know, gone are the days where, you know, you were brought up to say, okay, you're going to grow up to be a doctor or a lawyer or, you know, or a scientist, and that's all you have to be, and you cannot be anything else. But as human beings, we're so layered and so diverse. And so I think the younger generation are getting it more, that, you know, that we are more than just one person, and that, you know, I can be as much as a banker, as a tech person, as an artist, and I'm allowed and able to express myself, because human beings like to put us all into little boxes, right?
Oh, but you definitely don't fit in one box.
But I mean, you don't either as well, you know, and it's just those who dare to be able to, you know, and I think that's what's very interesting, is that some people see me and they can never believe that I was a banker before.
No, even I cannot. So sorry, my limitation.
Because the images you have of me are today. And my point is that in life, if you are stuck where you are today and you think to yourself, I can't change, guess what? We can change in an instant. It's taking a new canvas and saying, I am the painter of my life. I can decide what people see about me. I am the one who's creating the narrative in everybody's minds. I am the prompt machine.
This is so empowering. Like really, that's so empowering really for our listeners, and of course also for the female listeners. I mean, you are really an amazing example. Thank you so much. I feel empowered. You know?
You're like, I'm going to go and change.
Yes, exactly. I mean, who knows what's next?
Yes, exactly.
Fascinating. And you know, you mentioned, of course, and we spoke a bit about consciousness, but this is clear that you are infusing human consciousness into art. Can you tell us a bit about that? I mean, I find that more than fascinating. And of course, I could experience it. Probably it's not possible to say it in words. But if I experience your art, I can feel, yes, how you are infusing consciousness into art. I mean, it makes you present, yes, to the image. Sorry, I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, absolutely. For me, when I say, you know, infusing human consciousness into art, there's just so many layers again to it. But one of the, you know, which I think we've discussed, but one of a new idea that I've not talked about is I'm a big believer of energy, obviously sound, vibration, energy, and that we are,
even primordial energy, yes, because that's the sound, definitely.
Exactly,
yes.
And we are
vibration, right?
We are compacted particles that are vibrating, and so when you meet somebody who's like, oh, I just vibe with that person, or that person's not my vibe, is because we are just our energy level, we're just vibrating at different energy planes. And I'm a strong believer in the fact that you can infuse human energy into art. So when I'm painting, whether it's painting the mural, whether I'm drawing on my iPad, I make sure that I listen to very positive things. I am feeding my AI machine with positive energy that I am giving out, because I genuinely believe that it's so intangible, but it will affect the way the person experiences it, especially with murals. Like you're taking a wall and you are putting in energy into that wall or into that physical artwork, and then that is coming out at the person, because it's intangible, but I know the intention that went into it. And so I wanted to kind of express this in a way that maybe people can understand, even though it was something very different. So
it's
I
very
created.
Abstract,
it's very abstract.
Yes.
So what I did is I created, and this was going back a couple of years ago now. So I think other people have done something, but I think I was one of the first. Well, I think I was the first one to do it, where I created a mindful meditation experience in virtual reality, where you can go and meditate to a floating crystal that breathes in and out with your breath while sitting on a floating yoga mat. And what I did is I infused, so the idea is that I then got everybody to chant the word Om. I took that chanting of like 50 people, I did it at a conference, 50 people chanted the word Om. I put that Om inside the crystal in the VR, and then it's got the sound of 50 people chanting Om. So you go and you take the energy from the crystal, but you also give back to the energy of the crystal. And why is it floating? Because the idea is that in the world of virtual reality, that you don't need to be confined by the laws of gravity in virtual reality or in the metaverse. So we don't need to be sitting on a chair. We can be sitting on a floating chair or a floating yoga mat. The crystal can be like floating, and it can be breathing in and out. So guess what? It's like, in a way, it opens up a whole level of creativity that you can't necessarily only just activate in the physical
you are a spirit.
world.
It's like unbound. And all this, I agree. Yes, when all the restrictions which we are used to and which we had to overcome as human beings, like gravity included, as well as our human condition and limitations. So in that art world, we can feel free to really fulfill our higher selves.
Our soul could just become so and
I can see your art doing that. I have a few more questions, but is this I think that's another poem.
That's another AI bites.
That's amazing. Yes, so there are so many that probably we cannot cover them.
But I mean, there's what's over there, and I can show later. It's not in the camera view.
Yes,
but I talked about language, right? So sound, vibration, language, communication. And so I actually created my own alphabet, which I called the SoundBYTEs.
Wow.
Again, so it's all based on, because what ultimately is, what is language, right? Language is just a series of certain symbols. Sounds which people have understood the meaning, a common understanding of that symbol and that meaning. And so I created my own language, which I call the SoundBYTEs, and you have an ABC. It's like my own font, but with images. And then I created a first word, which I called meta reversed, where I reversed the meta in the sense that I made a sculpture in my language, and it was based also on sound. And then it was made out of 145 slices of aluminium, gold, and silver slices. And then when you bought one of the NFTs, you got one slice of the physical artwork. So it was the world's first physically fractionalized sculpture. So
speaking of blockchain,
that's the whole point again of the art edutainment, where you can have one whole piece, but then everybody owns one slice
Oh
of
my
that
God.
sculpture.
Fascinating. And can we see that somewhere
Yeah, I
online?
mean, I
or-
can show you.
Okay,
show you.
great.
Yes,
Yes, we'd
exactly.
like to, if we can video or find it somewhere,
Yes.
our audience for sure
Yeah,
wants to see that, maybe
absolutely.
even get a piece of that
Yeah,
slice,
absolutely.
a slice
a
of
slice
that.
of it.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's called the AlphaBytes, and you can find it on OpenSea. And yeah, that's a collection.
So I mean, it's again mind blowing, but I don't find other words, better word. But it's your creativity is limitless indeed. And I just wanted to ask, because I never met someone like that. So did you have an inspiration? I mean, you are my inspiration, that's for sure. Right.
That's very
But did you have a favorite artist who inspired you, or how did you draw all this inspiration?
Well, for me, my artist that I'm inspired by is Salvador Dali.
Yes.
Because the whole point what
Oh my God.
Salvador Dali does is it forces you to just see the world in a different way, right? Like when we look at things, our minds do the looking first, right? Like we may not understand it, but our minds are the ones that first look. And then because we're such perfectly processed AI machines that we move at the speed of light. But imagine you've never seen before in your life and you open up your eyes. Logically, I don't know if that is the shape of the table or that's the shape of the table. Like my mind knows that the lamp is separate to the table, right? But obviously, if I've never seen before, my eye thinks that the table is shaped like this, right? Because I don't know that I can separate the two. So that just looks like one shape. And so what I love about what Dali does is that he does is that, he throws your brain out the window. So your eyes have to first do the looking, then your brain kicks in. And I love the fact that there's layers. For me, it's like the traditional version of augmented reality. He's augmenting your realities. He's helping you see different things. And depending again on your AI machine, what do you see first? What image? Because it's a reflection of who you are as to what you see first.
Exactly.
Because that's
as you said in the beginning, yes,
Yeah.
what you see, yes. So, but this is, I mean, even more mind blowing for me, and I feel like crying even more than when you showed me this image, and I will tell you why. I don't know if you knew, but I'm a poet as well, and
I know poetry.
my inspiration, I only write poems inspired by Dali's painting.
No.
Yes, they are online as
That's
well, so you know it's true.
funny.
Yes. So
I
that's why.
love
So
it.
where you say, and you describe Dali as a visual artist, which
Yes.
you are. For me, as a poet, yes, for me it's like I see with my heart. So when when I see his painting in this surrealism, it immediately touches my heart, and I have to start writing. And many of them make me cry just because they are snapshots of my life. That's how I see it there. So it's amazing to find a kindred spirit in you and a soulmate, a Dali soulmate, let's put it this way. Wow, Amrita, it's amazing. It's just so fascinating.
No, I love that. We have a lot of synergies just from everything today.
Yes,
so,
and actually, yes, we also, when we met first time.
Yes,
That
exactly.
clicked as well. So it was.
We're vibrating at the same energy wavelengths. So,
Speaking of the consciousness. So tell me a bit more about your Byte Studio. I mean, you created your own alphabet and so on, and I, of course, cannot wait to learn it if I can.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask about the Byte Studio a bit. Is it related to the alphabet, or what is the Byte Studio?
So I think
are we in the Byte Studio?
Yeah, we're kind of in the Byte. So
Okay.
I would say, I have as an artist, first and foremost, I'm an artist. And I have my own collections, which I've talked about, my SoundBYTEs,
Yes.
my AlphaBytes, my AI Bytes, the Crystal Bytes. So I have a lot of my own collections, and I use being an artist, I push out whatever I want, whatever creativity comes out in my collections. And then with my studio, I work with a lot of brands in the studio.
Oh,
so
like?
I find that a lot of big brands come to me and are inspired a bit with what I'm doing. And to its core, obviously, my art is about storytelling, right? And so what do brands do? They tell stories through, their marketing and
stories come to life through
exactly.
your art. Yes.
So I've done a very beautiful piece for Canon, which is here as well. So what is the stories that they want to tell? I've worked with Jacob and Company, Ferrari, Maserati, some of the world's kind of largest big brands, because they wanted to tell their story in this new artistic manner, but in a way that is also new, fresh, and going to be reaching the next generation. And so that's how I operate. And so, but also just helping people move from this world of, what is the current state and what is the future state of technology. And like, for example, with brands, if you look at things like augmented reality, and what I was saying before is that you have it could be a bottle of water, it could be a skin cream, or whatever the case is. And you take your phone and you've got this new digital real estate to really tell your brand story. And from that as well, with the studio, it's also there to now start helping other artists as well, get into how do they become phygital, like going and being.
So you're a mentor as well, or a teacher?
Well, I think it would be more like a platform or a gallery for other artists. So then, because obviously with my collections, I learn from my collections, the tech to be able for somebody to be able to come to my website, browse my artworks, buy them in both fiat and crypto, receive an NFT, receive the physical, become part of my bike community. All of that is a process and a community and a thing that I've created, which now that I've not started, but going for next year, I'll be able to help other artists do the same thing.
Wow.
But also other brands do the same thing. Brands to be able to launch their digital collectible collections, or take their physical goods, have them also so you can go and buy a physical good, but you get the digital collectible that unlocks more community rewards. God. So it kind of just allows me to take what I learn in through my creativity to be as crazy as I like in my collections, and then distill it into ways that I can help other people, use the technology.
Yes, like you create new worlds all the ground as well, as well as in your artistic realm, which is phenomenal. I mean, definitely, we start to live in a new dimension through your art, also in business, also in our day-to-day life. Yes, when we purchase a product, if we purchase it with your phygital version, it's of course a new dimension. Yes,
and I'm a big believer. A lot of the time people say, well, artists should just stay artists, but I feel like I'm an art techpreneur.
Yes,
and
totally.
I almost feel like I'm I would say like a little bit of a spokesperson with this art edutainment for being able to, convey the message of, or show people what technology can do for them. And whether it's even like my T-shirt is augmented reality. What is it going to do to the fashion world?
Wow.
Like you scan the QR code on the back, the whole T-shirt comes to life. From
and you
fashion,
become a new person with that, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
And why? It's just a creative canvas for you to be able to express yourself more. But also, I feel as a role to play to help other people kind of, as I said, inspire change through art and technology. I want people to be inspired change within themselves, within their companies, within their communities, within their own businesses. How can technology inspire change, and using art to be able to help them just ignite a bit of magic in their creativity themselves, in their own businesses.
Exactly, and enable us to flourish. So this is how I see it and how I feel it. And I'm like, wow. Thank you so much for all your work, Amrita.
My pleasure.
I invite our audience to join us in watching some of the Phygital Art videos at the end of the podcast, as well as to visit you online. And we are going to post all the websites and everything that you would like to see. And in your questions, we will answer. Yes, we will send them to Amrita in your comments. Please ask us whatever more do you want to know about her, because she is a universe, as you can see. And thank you. It is such a great honor.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you for your time and,
thank you
for everything.
Thank
for
you so
being
much.
you and contributing to the human flourishing.
Well, thank you for being you and for giving me such an amazing platform. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
In a world where circuits meld with wine, where silicon dreams and times redesign, art takes a leap beyond the canvas wide. With AI touch, a digital tide. Pixels and codes, now the brush and the pen. Crafting realms beyond mortal ken. From age-old strokes to algorithms deft. Art evolution takes its next breath. NFTs arise, a token